What's up everybody, back for another Honkai Star Rail video. In this video we're going to go over the 5 most important characters every person should have on their account. Now before we get into this video, I will say you do not need any of these characters. You can obviously clear with other alternatives, but having these characters will make your life a lot easier, right? I would have a showcase or like first impressions of the new units, but your boy's kind of broke. And what I mean by that is no credits, no relic XP, not enough traces to fully max out a character, so I think I have them all at like 8 to get a good idea of like what I want to like do team wise. But the damage could be a bit higher, and there are, let me actually resize this a little bit so it's a bit bigger. Some of the teams, like, I'll miss a cycle just because they live at like 3%. I'm like, dude, if I had that like leveled up, I could probably get it, right? So I do want to wait like a day more at most. I've also been a bit busy, right? So we're doing this video instead, right? So we are gonna stop. Jeez, great start to the video. We're gonna start at the bottom and then go up from there. First things first, we're gonna have our honorable mention. Right now, our honorable mention is going to be a bit of a weird one, right? You might be thinking, oh, it's probably gonna be one of the supports that's not like the best support at the moment, but still a good support. Oh, maybe it's a DPS or a sustainer. Actually, it's a character who technically isn't even up here as high as you'd think, but there's a reason it's honorable mention, and that honorable mention is going to be none other than Bronya. Now the reason for this, right, is because Bronya is kind of on the rise recently, works well with Saber, works really good with Phanon, is a decent alternative if you need an action advancer. The reason we have her an honorable mention is because you either lose 50-50 to her, or you can pick her through a bunch of various things, and she's overall a very good support. Still, she has her issues. Some of them are solved with dupes, some of them are solved with light cones. By the way, when I'm making this video, everyone is easy, alright? We're not going to count with dupes because then it gets a little too funny, right? But Bronya is going to be an honorable mention because she's an absolute great character. And while I don't think you should pick her up over like Ruan Mei in the like new exchange shop we have, if you get to your 300 on the standard banner, she's an excellent choice to pick up. So that's why I'm going to include her here in honorable mention, right? Now, I could have a bunch of characters in honorable mention, but I really just wanted to shout out Bronya just because she is a solid option if, you know, you just lose a 50-50 or you pick from the 300 or they give away a new 5-star in the future, right? So here we are with number 5, and number 5 is going to be a tie between these two characters. Now, if there is a tie, I'm going to put the character who I think is slightly better on the left, but this is going to be Robin and Ruan Mei. Now, I'm conflicted with putting Ruan Mei on here because she's technically free, especially if you played during Anniversary when you got the free selector, right? Or not a selector, but you got the item to exchange it. It's basically a selector, right? Ruan Mei is extremely good still. She's also on the rise again because there's a lot of characters who don't scale off of attack percent, right? Which is where Robin is, right? And plus, the weakness break efficiency is just so good in modes like Apocalyptic Shadow. It works really good for break teams. Not saying break teams are like the most dominant thing on the planet anymore, but she does enhance a whole, you know, type of team. She also is the only character at the moment who has a team-wide toughness bar effect where, you know, you can hit them for more toughness, which is kind of insane to think about, right? That we haven't had a single character since her. Maybe they like are too scared to power creeper. People might be upset, or like they don't know how to go about it, right? Because it was so broken. That's why I have Ruan Mei slightly over Robin. Not saying Robin is no slouch. Robin is absolutely busted. There's a lot of HP scalers running around at the moment, which an action advance is always going to help them out, right? Just because they'll be able to attack and do damage. But, you know, the attack percent is a bit rough. There's also a bunch of other characters that you'd run instead of Robin, right? Which is a bit unfortunate, but Robin is still extremely good. I'm going to put both of them at number 5. Now, number 4 is going to be, you guessed it, Sustains, right? Now, the best one at the moment is Hyacinth, just because there is a lot of HP scalers running around in this meta, and she does boost max HP, which does mean you get a damage boost. Plus, with Ika doing a good, solid chunk of damage, right? She can kind of be like a mini sub DPS, right? She's not gonna be putting out the most disgusting numbers unless like you have her light cone or maybe a dupe in her, but she does do decent damage that does rack up over time while being a good sustain while also supporting the other characters if they're running with an HP buffer, right? Good other characters as well. I'm gonna put Linksha and Aventurine up here as well. They're also really good sustains, but Hyacine is the best out of them. But I do think that they warrant also having these two on your account. Linksha is going to be work well with follow up and break. Aventurine is going to work well with follow up and just more general teams, just because he also gives a little bit of crit damage, and he can also do a solid amount of damage. Funny enough, all three of them actually are mini DPSs, right? Obviously, some of them are going to do a lot more than others, depending on what you have, but they all do damage while also being a sustain, which is kind of funny. I guess that's kind of the niche that sustains are going to have going forward, where they'll do a little bit of damage to help contribute to the overall team's damage, right? Like I said, Hyacine is going to be the best. I guess Adventuring is at the lowest because of Memo Sprites, unfortunately. But they're all pretty solid, right? So I'm going to put all of them together here. I feel like even though Hyacine is the best, Aventurine and Linksha aren't that much worse than her, that I feel like they just don't deserve to be on this list. Pretty much just pick the one that works well with your team and go from there. Now, number 3 is going to be a bit of a funny one. Oh, yeah, it's not actually Zayla. It's pretty much just a premium DPS, right? Now, the best two are going to be Castorus and Herda, mostly because they require the least amount of you need this unit or a full premium team, right? Castorus can be run with like RMC and Gallagher, which are two free characters. Obviously, the other slot's gonna be like you want Tribby with her, right? Or you can run Cypher. So it really just depends what you have. Ruan May also works. There's a lot of options for both of them. Herda wants an addition character, which you can use like Jade, Argenti, and Noxa. But you also have 4-star options like Serval and Mini Herda, right? And then even though like Herda kind of wants Ho-Ho, you can still run Gallagher, and then you could throw like, Ruan May, Robin, Sunday, whoever you want at Herda, and they will work, right? Some are going to work a little bit better than others, but their teams are pretty free to play with some higher options if you do have them. Obviously, Anaxa is going to do a lot better with the Herda than someone like Serval, right? Obviously, if you're using like Ting Yun, Sunday would probably be a better option. You know what I mean, right? There's better options if you have them, but these teams work pretty well with 4-star or, freer options like Ruan May, right? So that's why I have them two here instead of some other characters. Plus, I just think they're like the two best DPS at the moment. Castorus does work a bit well with everything, so she's going to have a bit of an advantage over Herda, but they're still very good DPSs, and at the end of the day, if you don't have a DPS, you're not clearing, right? Now, in number 2, we are going back down to a singular character for 1 and 2. These two are the best characters in the game, and the only reason I have this character below number 1 is because the E1 absolutely makes him busted as hell. Most people actually went for the E1, but it's Tribby, right? Now, Tribby's E1 is absolutely disgusting, but for fairness, we are looking at E0. Tribby is no slouch, able to do a decent amount of damage. If you're running her with DDD, you get the action advance, right? Tons of attacks when you launch ultimates with other characters, plus boosting overall damage for the team. Absolutely fantastic character, right? However, right, like I said, if the E1 was in the base kit, it would be like 10 tiers and then Tribby would be at top, right? Like, absolutely busted. The fact that the E1 is the absolute, disgusting support that, everyone wants, a lot of people went for it, kind of hurts her a little bit just because it's not in her base kit. Not saying Tribby is bad by any means, but this makes this other character in number 1 for me, and that is Sunday, right? Sunday is absolutely disgusting and quite literally only gets better, right? Sunday gives you an action advance, a cleanse, crit rate, crit damage, and energy. That works for so many characters. Saber wants energy, frequent attacks, you can't say no to crit rate, crit damage, boom. Archer, skill point hungry, action advance, you can make him really slow, crit rate, crit damage, energy, go from there, right? Phanon wants the action advance, so he gets the buff. The energy from the ultimate also gives him another stack for his core flames, right? Go from there. Aglia memo sprites. Sunday advances memo sprites. Aglia loves that. Aglia wants a lot of energy. That's beautiful. Mide, action advance, crit rate and crit damage. Beautiful. Anaxa, able to do skill into skill into action advance into skill into skill. A lot of damage. Loves that, right? You know, even like phase out, right? Which normally you'd run other characters, still works great. Action advance for more skills, for more follow-ups. Energy can't really be used too much, but hey, crit damage. Hell, Acheron uses Sunday. Acheron also can't use it, right? I feel like that's a better example of phase out, to be fair, right? But Acheron doesn't use the energy, still wants the crit rate and crit damage, the action advance to get her ultimates faster, right? Hell, like Zele will use Sunday. Jinglu still uses Sunday, even though she has so much absurd crit damage and a fuck ton of crit rate, right? The action advance is still absolutely insane for just getting more damage out, right? Like, it just, I could pretty much put like every single DPS. Hell, technically, even, I know this is a stretch, even if you have like absolutely no characters, even Dot could take an advantage of it because you're getting an action advance and energy. Like, Sunday actually just does way too much. He actually does way too much. Uh, I'm starting to think that maybe they made a mistake with Sunday because he just works so well with so many characters, right? Now we'll have to see what Sreeger does because she is a support, right? Do I think she'll be on the same tier as Sunday? Probably not. Do I think she'll be on the same tier as Tribby? Maybe not E1 Tribby for sure. There's no way. Unless her E1 is also broken. We'll have to see where she's at. But Sunday is absolutely absurd. But I recommend if you are a new player, because you get Archer for free, is it's going to be a bit jank. I will say having to use Archer without Sparkle does suck. He does still clear just fine, still does great damage, but you're not going to be able to let rip all those skills every single time, right? So if I was a new player, I'd recommend 100% go for Sunday. Sunday is going to be such a good universal support. And then go from Tribby. And I know like light cones help a bunch, but having Sunday and Tribby already for your account, that means you have a support for each side of endgame modes, is going to help you tremendously, right? And then you have Archer for free, and then from there you can just like summon on whatever. Now it is unfortunate that Sunday and Tribby both are running at the same time, because now if you miss them, you're gonna probably watch this video and be like, damn, the two best characters in the game. Obviously, in my opinion, other players can have other opinions. I don't think it would be too much different from what I have on this list. But yeah, maybe like a Noxa would be up there because Noxa is also really good. But it does suck because hopefully they rerun them somewhat soon after they leave. I know it's weird to say, but I feel like if you don't have these two supports, you are just at a massive disadvantage in this game. It is Honkai Support Rail after all. But on that, that'll be it for the video. Let me know in the comments what you think. I already know people are going to call me all sorts of mean names. Hey, it is what it is. Let me know what your list is in the comments below, and I will catch y'all in the next one. Thanks for watching.